The night sky over Nevada was unusually bright. When Luna's small spacecraft started shaking violently, she gripped the control panel as warning lights flashed all around her. This was supposed to be a simple observation mission. Her people, the Altarians, had been watching Earth for years, studying human behavior from a safe distance. But tonight, everything was going wrong. Lightning crackled through the dark clouds above the desert. The electromagnetic storm was much stronger than her ship's computers had predicted. Luna tried desperately to maintain control, but the ancient navigation system was failing. Sparks flew from the dashboard as she felt her craft spinning out of control. Not good. Not good at all, she whispered to herself in her native language, though it sounded almost like English to human ears. The ship crashed with a loud thud behind a rocky hill, sending sand and dust flying everywhere. Luna sat still for a moment, checking if she was hurt. Her pale blue skin had a few scratches, and her silver hair was messy, but she was alive. The problem was her ship. Smoke was coming from the engine, and half the control panel was completely dead. Luna climbed out of the wreckage and looked around. In the distance, she could see bright lights and tall fences. It looked like some kind of human facility. She had studied human settlements before, but never been this close to one. Her heart started beating faster, not from fear, but from curiosity. Maybe they have materials I can use to fix my ship, she thought. Her people had taught her that humans could be unpredictable, but they were also innovative. Perhaps she could find something useful without being seen. The facility was bigger than it looked from far away. As Luna got closer, she noticed soldiers walking around with weapons. This wasn't just any human settlement. This was clearly a military base. Her enhanced eyesight could see through the darkness easily, helping her avoid the patrol routes. She noticed most of the soldiers were gathered near the main building, looking up at the storm. The lightning was still crackling overhead, and they seemed worried about their equipment. This was her chance to look around without being noticed. Luna found a small window on the side of a laboratory building. Her slender frame allowed her to slip through easily. Inside, she saw rows of computers, strange machines, and shelves full of bottles and containers. Everything was so different from Altarian technology, but somehow fascinating. She moved quietly through the lab, examining various objects. Human science was crude compared to her people's knowledge, but it had a certain charm. They seemed to solve problems in such creative ways. As she explored, she noticed her ship's crash had damaged her communication device. She needed conductive materials to repair it. Near a large computer, Luna spotted several containers with glowing liquids inside. One container was particularly interesting. It had a bright blue glow, similar to the energy drinks her people consumed for long space flights. The label read Project Vigor, Test Batch 7, but Luna couldn't read human writing very well. Her throat felt dry from the desert air and the stress of the crash. The glowing liquid looked refreshing, almost like the energy supplements from home. Without thinking much about it, she opened the container and drank the entire contents in one gulp. At first, nothing happened. The liquid tasted strange, kind of bitter with a metallic aftertaste, but it did make her feel less thirsty. Luna continued searching for materials she could use to repair her ship. She found some copper wires and small electronic components that might work. Then, something started to feel different. Her skin began to tingle, and her heart started beating much faster than normal. Colors in the room seemed brighter, and she could hear sounds from much farther away than usual. Even her natural ability to sense emotions, which all Altarians possessed, seemed to be getting stronger. What was in that drink? She wondered, starting to feel worried. Luna tried to focus on gathering the materials she needed, but concentrating was becoming difficult. Her hands were shaking slightly, and she felt an unusual energy building up inside her body. It wasn't painful, but it was definitely not normal. She quickly stuffed the useful materials into her pockets and headed back toward the window. But as she tried to climb out, her enhanced hearing picked up footsteps approaching the building. Someone was coming, and they would be here soon. Luna managed to slip out of the window just as she heard voices inside the lab. her body was feeling stranger by the minute. The tingling sensation was spreading, and she felt like she had consumed way too much caffeine. But there was something else too, an overwhelming urge to be around others, to talk to someone, to connect. As she made her way back toward her crashed ship, Luna realized this was going to be much more complicated than she had planned. Whatever she had drunk was affecting her in ways she didn't understand. And worst of all, she could hear vehicles starting up at the base behind her. They had probably discovered that someone had been in their laboratory. Luna reached her ship and tried to start the repairs, but her hands wouldn't stop shaking. The strange energy inside her was growing stronger, making it hard to think clearly. She could sense emotions from the humans at the base even from this distance. And their feelings were intense: confusion, alertness, and determination. They were looking for whoever had broken into their lab. They were looking for her. As Luna worked frantically on her ship's communication system, she couldn't help but wonder what exactly she had gotten herself into. This was supposed to be a simple observation mission, but now she was stranded on an alien planet, affected by some unknown human substance, and being hunted by military forces. The worst part was that the strange energy from the drink was making her want to go back to the base instead of hiding. Every instinct told her to seek out the humans, to interact with them, to be near them, but she knew that would be dangerous for both her and them. Luna looked up at the stormy sky and sighed. This was definitely not going according to plan. Luna tried to focus on repairing her ship, but something was seriously wrong with her body. The strange drink she had consumed was making everything feel different. Her hands wouldn't stop trembling, and every sound seemed incredibly loud, even. The wind blowing through the desert rocks sounded like thunder in her ears. She attempted to connect the wires together, but her vision kept getting distracted by how bright everything looked. The stars in the sky seemed to be glowing like tiny suns, and she could see colors that weren't there before. This wasn't normal, even for an Altarian. "Focus, Luna, focus," she whispered to herself, but even her own voice sounded strange and echoing. Back at the military base, Dr. Riley Chen walked into her laboratory to check on the overnight experiments. She was the lead scientist working on Project Vigor, a new formula designed to help soldiers stay alert during long missions. As she flicked on the lights, she immediately noticed something was wrong. One of the test containers was missing, not just moved or misplaced, but completely gone. The security seal on the storage cabinet had been broken, and there were small footprints on the dusty floor. That definitely didn't belong to any of her research team. This can't be happening. Dr. Chen muttered as she examined the empty space where Container 7 should have been. That particular batch was experimental, untested on humans, and potentially dangerous. She quickly activated the security alert system. Within minutes, Captain Jake Rodriguez, the head of base security, arrived with 2 other soldiers. He was a calm man who had seen many strange things during his military career. But missing experimental chemicals were always serious business. "What exactly was in that container, Doc?" he asked, examining the broken cabinet. "It's a prototype stimulant," Dr. Chen explained, trying to stay calm. "We designed it to enhance alertness and reaction time in soldiers, but this batch was 3 times stronger than our usual formula. We hadn't even tested it on animals yet." Captain Rodriguez frowned. "So whoever took this could be in serious danger," Dr. Chen finished. "We need to find them fast." Meanwhile, Luna was discovering just how serious her situation had become. The effects of the serum were getting stronger by the minute. She found herself singing loudly to her broken ship, as if the machine could somehow respond to her voice. The logical part of her mind knew this was ridiculous, but she couldn't stop herself. Her natural Altarian ability to sense emotions was going completely out of control. She could feel the worry and confusion of every human at the base, even. From this distance, their emotions were hitting her like waves, making her own feelings swing wildly from excitement to anxiety to an overwhelming urge to help everyone feel better. "I need to make them happy," she said to the desert air, not understanding why this thought seemed so important. Luna abandoned her ship repairs and started walking back toward the base. In her affected state, this seemed like a perfectly reasonable idea. She began collecting smooth rocks and arranging them in decorative patterns as she walked. Convinced that the humans would appreciate beautiful art at the base, the security team was reviewing camera footage from the night before. The storm had interfered with most of the recordings, but they managed to get a few unclear images of a small figure moving near the laboratory building. "Looks like a young woman," one of the soldiers observed. "But something's odd about the way she moves." Dr. Chen studied the blurry footage carefully. "She's too quick, too graceful. And look at this frame here. Is that her skin glowing?" "Equipment malfunction from the storm," Captain Rodriguez suggested, but he didn't sound convinced. As dawn approached, Luna's behavior became even more erratic. She had somehow made her way to the base's outer fence and was weaving flowers and colorful dessert plants through the chain links to her chemically enhanced mind. This was the most important task in the world. A patrol discovered her there at sunrise, humming a melody that sounded both beautiful and completely alien. She was so focused on her flower arrangement that she didn't notice the soldiers approaching until they were only a few feet away. "Miss, you need to come with us," one of the soldiers said gently, recognizing that something was very wrong with this strange young woman. Luna turned around with a huge smile on her face. Her skin had a faint blue tint that became more noticeable in the morning light, and her eyes seemed to shimmer with an inner glow. But what really caught the soldiers' attention was her genuine excitement at seeing them. "Oh, wonderful. I was hoping to meet some humans today," she exclaimed, clapping her hands together. "I've been making art for you. Do you like flowers?" "I think flowers make everything better." The soldiers exchanged worried glances. This wasn't typical behavior for someone who had broken into a military facility. She seemed harmless, but clearly under the influence of something powerful. "What did you take from the laboratory?" one soldier asked carefully. "The glowing blue drink." Luna answered honestly, still smiling. "It was very pretty, like the energy." "Drinks from my home." She caught herself before saying too much about her origins. Dr. Chen arrived with Captain Rodriguez just as Luna was attempting to braid flowers into one soldier's hair, much to his confusion. The scientist immediately recognized the symptoms: dilated pupils, excessive energy, heightened emotional responses. But these effects were far more extreme than anything they had seen in their computer models. "How much did you drink?" Dr. Chen asked urgently. "All of it," Luna replied cheerfully. "It tasted strange, but I was thirsty after my accident." Dr. Chen's face went pale. "All of it? That's impossible. That dose would—" She didn't finish the sentence. But Captain Rodriguez understood. A full container of experimental stimulant should have been lethal, or at least cause serious medical problems. Yet this young woman seemed energetic and happy, though clearly not in her right mind. "We need to get her to the medical bay immediately," Dr. Chen said. "I don't understand how she's still conscious, but we need to monitor her vital signs and try to counteract the effects." Luna overheard their conversation and became concerned for the first time since drinking the serum. "Am I in trouble? I didn't mean to cause problems. I just needed some materials to fix my vehicle." As they escorted her toward the medical facility, Luna continued chattering about everything she saw, complimenting the soldiers on their uniforms, suggesting improvements to the base's color scheme, and asking dozens of questions about human culture. Her enthusiasm was both endearing and exhausting. Dr. Chen realized this was going to be unlike any medical case she had ever handled, and something told her that this mysterious young woman was hiding secrets that went far beyond simple trespassing. The medical bay at the base was not prepared for someone like Luna. She sat on the examination table, swinging her legs like a child, while Dr. Chen tried to take her vital signs every few seconds. Luna would gasp with delight at something ordinary, like the beeping of the heart monitor or the way light reflected off the medical instruments. "Your heartbeat is so interesting," Luna exclaimed, listening to the monitor. "It's much faster than it should be for humans." "Oh wait, that's my heartbeat, isn't it?" Dr. Chen frowned at the readings. Luna's heart rate was dangerously high, but she showed no signs of distress. Her blood pressure was also unusual, and her body temperature was lower than normal for a human. Nothing about this patient made medical sense. Can you tell me your full name? Dr. Chen asked. Trying to gather basic information. Luna, she replied, then paused as if considering whether to say more. Just Luna. I'm not from round here. Captain Rodriguez stood near the door, observing everything carefully. In his years of military service, he had dealt with many different situations. But this young woman puzzled him. She acted like someone under the influence of drugs. Yet she seemed genuinely innocent and kind-hearted. Where exactly are you from? He asked gently. Luna's enhanced empathic abilities suddenly kicked in strongly. She could feel his suspicion, but also his genuine concern for her safety. The kindness in his emotions made her want to trust him, but her training warned her to be careful. Very far away, she said, her voice becoming slightly more serious. Much farther than you might think. Dr. Chen noticed that Luna's skin seemed to have a faint shimmer, especially under the bright medical lights. She had initially thought it was a side effect of the serum, but now she wasn't so sure. There was something fundamentally different about this patient. Luna, I need you to understand something, Dr. Chen said, sitting down to be at eye level with her. The substance you drank wasn't meant for human consumption. It was an experimental formula that could be very dangerous. I need to know if you're experiencing any pain or unusual symptoms. Luna tilted her head, considering the question. The serum was definitely affecting her, but not in the way Dr. Chen expected. Her emotions were amplified, her senses were overwhelming, and she felt an irresistible urge to connect with these humans. But physical pain, no. That wasn't the problem. I feel like I want to hug everyone, Luna said honestly. And everything looks so beautiful, like it's glowing. And I can feel what you're feeling. You're worried about me. And you're also curious about something you can't quite understand. Dr. Chen and Captain Rodriguez exchanged glances. That level of emotional perception wasn't a known side effect of their serum. What do you mean? You can feel what we're feeling, Captain Rodriguez asked, stepping closer. Luna looked at him directly, her eyes seeming to glow with an inner light. You're trying to protect everyone at this base. You care about your soldiers like their family. And right now, you're confused because I don't seem like a threat. But you know something isn't normal about me. The accuracy of her observations made Captain Rodriguez uncomfortable. Either this young woman was incredibly perceptive or something else is going on. Suddenly, Luna's expression changed. She clutched her chest as a wave of pain shot through her body. The serum that had been energizing her was now starting to cause problems. Her alien physiology wasn't designed to process human-made chemicals, and her body was beginning to reject the foreign substance. Something's wrong, she gasped, her skin beginning to glow more brightly. I don't think my body knows how to handle your human medicine. As the pain intensified, Luna's control over her natural abilities slipped. Her skin began to emit a soft blue light, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. The glow was unmistakably not human, and both Dr. Chen and Captain Rodriguez stared in amazement. That's not possible, Dr. Chen whispered. But the evidence was right in front of her eyes. Luna realized her secret was out. The pain was making it impossible to hide her true nature. She looked at both humans, sensing their shock and fear, but also their fascination. I'm sorry, she said, her voice weak from the physical distress. I didn't mean to deceive you. I'm not from your world. I'm from a planet very far from here. My people call it Altera. Captain Rodriguez sat down heavily in a chair, trying to process this information. You're saying you're an alien? I know it sounds impossible. Luna continued, her glow fluctuating as waves of pain hit her. I was only supposed to observe your planet from a distance, but my ship crashed in the storm, and I needed materials to repair it. I never meant to drink your experimental serum. Dr. Chen's scientific mind began racing. If Luna was truly from another planet, then the serum's effects on her would be completely unpredictable. Her alien biology could be having reactions they never anticipated. Luna, I need you to tell me everything about your species' physiology, Dr. Chen said urgently. If we're going to help you, I need to understand how your body works, Luna tried to explain. But speaking was becoming difficult. Her body was fighting the human chemicals, and she could feel herself getting weaker. The serum that had initially made her hyperactive and emotionally heightened was now becoming toxic to her system. My people process energy differently than humans, she managed to say between waves of discomfort. We're more sensitive to chemical changes. What might be safe for you could be dangerous for me. Captain Rodriguez made a decision that would change everything. Despite the incredible nature of the situation, he could see that Luna was in genuine distress and needed help. Whether she was human or alien didn't matter at this moment. Doc, what do we need to do to save her? He asked, moving closer to the examination table. I don't know, Dr. Chen admitted. This is completely outside anything I've studied. But maybe, if she can help us understand her biology, we can figure out how to counteract the serum's effects. Luna felt a surge of gratitude despite her physical pain. These humans were choosing to help her, even after learning the truth about her origins. Through her empathic abilities, she could sense their genuine desire to save her life. I'll tell you everything I know, she promised, her blue glow steadying as she found strength in their support. But we need to work together. I understand my own biology, but you understand your serum better than I do. And so began an unprecedented collaboration between human science and alien knowledge, with Luna's life hanging in the balance and the future of interspecies relations resting on their success. The next few hours in the medical bay were unlike anything Dr. Chen had ever experienced in her career. Luna lay on the examination table, her blue glow dimming and brightening as her body fought against the human serum. But despite her physical distress, she was determined to help them understand her biology. On my planet, we don't use chemicals like yours, Luna explained, her voice strained but clear. Our bodies work with natural energy flows. When we need healing or enhancement, we use crystalline formations that resonate with our life force. Captain Rodriguez listened carefully while monitoring the base's security systems he had made the decision to keep Luna's presence classified for now, telling his team that they were dealing with a medical emergency involving experimental chemicals. It wasn't entirely untrue. Dr. Chen took detailed notes as Luna described Altarian physiology. So your people don't have the same kind of blood chemistry that humans do. Not exactly, Luna said, wincing as another wave of discomfort hit her. We have something similar, but it carries energy instead of just oxygen. Your serum is trying to change how that energy flows through my body, and it's causing conflicts. As Luna spoke, something remarkable began happening. Her enhanced empathic abilities, amplified by the serum, started creating a deeper connection with both humans. Dr. Chen suddenly found herself understanding complex biological concepts that should have taken years to learn. Captain Rodriguez began seeing tactical situations from completely new perspectives. This is incredible, Dr. Chen whispered, looking at her research notes. I'm understanding things about biochemistry that I've never studied before. Luna, are you somehow sharing your knowledge with us? Luna nodded weakly. It's not intentional. The serum has made my natural abilities much stronger. I can't control it right now. I'm sorry if it's uncomfortable. Uncomfortable, Captain Rodriguez said with amazement. Luna, I just understood a completely new way to organize base security that would be more efficient and safer for everyone. Your mind works so differently from ours. Through this unexpected mental connection, the three began working together in ways that shouldn't have been possible. Dr. Chen could feel Luna's understanding of energy-based biology, while Luna gained insight into human chemical processes. Captain Rodriguez found himself thinking about problems from both human and Altarian perspectives. I think I know what we need to do, Dr. Chen said suddenly, her eyes bright with inspiration. Luna, your body is trying to convert the serum's chemicals into energy, but it doesn't know how to process the artificial compounds. What if we could help guide that conversion? Luna's glow brightened slightly with hope. You mean work with my body's natural processes instead of fighting against them? Exactly. but I'll need to understand more about how your energy systems work." What followed was the most unique medical collaboration in human history. Luna guided Dr. Chen through the basics of Altarian biology, while the doctor explained human chemistry in terms that Luna could understand. Captain Rodriguez, meanwhile, found himself naturally mediating between their two very different ways of thinking. "Your people are so focused on individual components," Luna observed, her condition gradually stabilizing as they worked. "You break everything down into tiny pieces and study each part separately. My people see everything as connected flows of energy, and that's exactly what we need." Dr. Chen realized, "I've been trying to counteract the serum chemically, but what if we approach it energetically instead, through their shared mental connection?" Luna began showing Dr. Chen how Altarian healing worked. It wasn't about adding or removing chemicals, but about helping the body's natural energy find balance again. Dr. Chen, in turn, showed Luna how human medicine could support and enhance those natural processes. Captain Rodriguez watched in fascination as the two worked together. He had always been a practical man, focused on concrete problems and solutions. But through Luna's empathic connection, he was beginning to understand that there were other ways to see the world. "Luna," he said quietly, "what do you see when you look at us? How do we seem different from your people?" Luna turned to him, her glow steady now as the treatment began working. "You're more individual than we are. Altarians share emotions and thoughts naturally, so we rarely feel alone. But humans have to work harder to connect with each other, which makes your connections more precious when they happen." The insight hit Captain Rodriguez deeply. He had spent years building trust with his soldiers, working to create unity in his teams. Luna was showing him that this challenge, which he had always seen as difficult, was actually one of humanity's greatest strengths. "And what do we see in you?" Dr. Chen asked. Genuinely curious, "Wonder," Luna replied with a small smile. "Even though I'm different, even though my presence here could cause problems, you chose to help me. That kind of compassion towards strangers isn't something I expected from your species." As the hours passed, the improvised treatment began showing real results. Luna's vital signs stabilized, and the dangerous effects of the serum started to fade, but the mental connection they had shared remained, leaving all three of them changed by the experience. Dr. Chen found herself thinking about medicine in completely new ways, considering energy flows and natural balance alongside traditional chemistry. Captain Rodriguez discovered leadership techniques that focused on harmony and mutual understanding, rather than just command and control. And Luna, despite her ordeal, had gained something invaluable, a deep understanding of human nature that would serve her well in the days to come. "I think the worst is over," Dr. Chen announced, checking Luna's readings one more time. "Your body has learned how to process the serum safely. You should make a full recovery." Luna sat up slowly, feeling more like herself than she had since drinking the experimental formula. But she was also aware that she was no longer quite the same person who had crashed in the desert. The experience had changed her, just as it had changed her new human friends. "Thank you," she said simply, her words carrying the weight of genuine gratitude. "You saved my life, even when you didn't understand what I was." Captain Rodriguez smiled. "That's what people do for each other, isn't it? Help when help is needed." Luna looked at both of them, realizing that her accidental arrival on Earth had led to something extraordinary. The question now was what to do next. Luna felt much better after a week of recovery, but she knew her real problems were just beginning. Her ship was still crashed in the desert, and the damage was worse than she had first thought. The communication systems were completely destroyed, and the navigation computer had been fried by the electromagnetic storm. "I've been thinking about my situation," Luna told Dr. Chen and Captain Rodriguez during their morning meeting in the medical bay. "My ship needs parts that don't exist on your planet. The repairs could take months, maybe even a year." Dr. Chen looked concerned. "What does that mean for you? Won't your people come looking for you?" "Eventually, yes," Luna said, her blue skin shimmering slightly as she considered the options. but Altarian rescue missions take time to organize. They'll probably assume I'm either dead or hiding somewhere safe. They won't expect me to be working with humans." Captain Rodriguez had been unusually quiet all morning. Finally, he spoke, up with an idea that had been growing in his mind for days. "Luna, what if we change the whole situation? What if instead of hiding and waiting for rescue, we made this official?" Luna tilted her head, confused. "What do you mean by official?" "I mean real first contact between our species," Captain Rodriguez explained, his excitement growing as he spoke. "You've already proven that humans and Altarians can work together peacefully. You understand our culture now, and we're learning about yours. Why not make it the foundation for something bigger?" Dr. Chen's eyes lit up with understanding. "He's talking about diplomatic relations. Luna, you could become Earth's first alien ambassador." The idea was both thrilling and terrifying. For Luna, she had only come to Earth to observe from a distance. Now they were suggesting she become the bridge between two completely different worlds. "But I'm just a scout," Luna protested. "I'm not trained for diplomacy or politics. What if I make mistakes that cause problems between our peoples?" "You've already handled the most difficult part," Captain Rodriguez pointed out. "You revealed your true nature to us when you were in danger, and you trusted us to help you. That took courage and wisdom." Dr. Chen nodded in agreement. "And you've taught us so much already. The medical techniques I've learned from you could help millions of people. Imagine what we could accomplish with official cooperation." Luna stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the desert where her ship had crashed. The past week had been the most intense experience of her life, but also the most meaningful. She had learned that humans were capable of incredible kindness and bravery, even toward complete strangers. "There's something else to consider," Luna said slowly. "If I contact my people and tell them about you, it changes everything for both our species. There's no going back once that step is taken. Maybe it's time for that change." Captain Rodriguez suggested gently, "Luna, in the short time you've been here, you've made us all better at what we do. Dr. Chen is thinking about medicine in completely new ways. I'm leading my team more effectively because of what you've shown me about cooperation and understanding." Luna felt the emotions of both humans through her enhanced empathic abilities. Their hope, excitement, and genuine care for her well-being were overwhelming. But she also sensed something else, their belief in her ability to handle this enormous responsibility. "If I do this," Luna said, turning back to face them, "I'll need your help. I can't represent my people to your entire planet without understanding much more about human society. We'll teach you everything we can," Dr. Chen promised, "and we'll learn from you too. This has to be a partnership." Over the next few days, they worked together to figure out how to contact Luna's people using human radio equipment modified. With Luna's knowledge of Altarian technology, they managed to create a communication device that could reach across the vast distances of space. The first message Luna sent was simple. "This is Scout Luna. I am safe and have made contact with the local species. They are intelligent, peaceful, and interested in friendship, requesting permission to begin formal diplomatic relations." The response took 2 days to arrive, but when it came, Luna's face glowed with excitement as she listened to the familiar voices of her homeworld. "They can't believe what I'm telling them," Luna translated for her human friends. "The Council of Elders wants to speak directly with representatives of your government." Captain Rodriguez grinned. "I think I can arrange that." What followed were the most historic conversations in human history. Through Luna's translation, Earth's leaders spoke directly with the rulers of a planet millions of miles away. The discussions were careful and formal at first, but gradually became more friendly as both sides realized they shared similar values of peace, knowledge, and cooperation. "They want to send a small delegation to Earth," Luna announced after hours of translation work. 3 ambassadors, along with scientists and cultural specialists. "But they're asking if I would be willing to stay here as the permanent Altarian representative." Dr. Chen could barely contain her excitement. "Luna, this is incredible. You'd be making history." But Luna looked thoughtful rather than excited. The decision would mean staying on Earth for years, possibly decades. She would be leaving behind everything familiar to live among aliens, even. If those aliens had become her friends, what's really in your heart? Captain Rodriguez asked, sensing her uncertainty. Not what you think you should do, but what you want to do. Luna was quiet for a long moment, feeling the warmth of friendship from both humans. Despite all the chaos and confusion of the past weeks, she had found something on Earth that she hadn't expected, a sense of belonging. I want to stay, she said finally, her voice growing stronger with conviction. Not just because it's important for our peoples, but because I've found something here I didn't know I was looking for. You've shown me what it means to care about someone different from yourself. Dr. Chen smiled warmly. And you've shown us that the universe is full of wonders we never imagined. 6 months later, Luna stood in the same desert where her ship had crashed, but this time she wasn't alone. A small group of Altarian ships landed gracefully nearby, carrying the first official alien delegation to Earth. Luna had spent months preparing for this moment, learning about human culture while teaching her new friends about Altarian ways. Are you nervous? Captain Rodriguez asked as they watched the ships touch down. A little, Luna admitted, her skin glowing softly with excitement. But mostly I'm grateful. If I hadn't crashed here, if I hadn't accidentally drunk that serum, if you hadn't chosen to help me, none of this would be happening. Dr. Chen laughed. So you're saying the best thing that ever happened to interspecies relations was a mistake? Sometimes the most important discoveries happen when we least expect them, Luna replied, watching as the airlock of the lead ship began to open. And sometimes the best adventures begin with someone making a very silly mistake. As the first Altarian ambassadors stepped onto Earth's surface, Luna felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Her accidental encounter with human military serum had led to confusion, crisis, and chaos. But it had also led to friendship, understanding, and the beginning of a new era for both species. The universe, Luna decided, had a wonderful sense of humor.